Dear Eleanor. Dear Eleanor. It's one of those movies that lifts your spirit and it makes you just feel great after the movie's over. If you're in a bad mood and you want to see a movie that will make you feel better at the end, it's this movie, Dear Eleanor. Set in 1962, these two friends, Ellie and Max, go on a road trip from California to New York so they can meet former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, hence the title, Dear Eleanor. What happened was Ellie's mom was supposed to give a speech, and it had to do with Eleanor Roosevelt. Unfortunately, on her way to the speech, she died in a car crash. Coincidentally, on the same day Marilyn Monroe passed away. So yes, this movie is set in 1962, just after Marilyn Monroe dies. Anyways, after her mom dies, Ellie falls into a big responsible position. She now has to take care of her three much younger siblings. Her father, played by Luke Wilson, doesn't really adjust to his loss well. He's trying to cope as much as he can, but ultimately he becomes withdrawn from the house. Well, all that changes when Max, played by Isabel Fuhrman, this girl here, Max, receives a letter from Eleanor Roosevelt asking them to come and meet her. Here's the catch, though. Eleanor Roosevelt never wrote to Max. Max's best friend, Billy, pretends that Eleanor Roosevelt wrote them a letter. Not really cool to lie to your best friend like that. But if there's one thing that's going to trigger you to go on an adventure, what can I say? So the whole movie's just about the two of them traveling from California to New York in order to meet Eleanor Roosevelt. And on their way, they meet an army of colorful characters, quirky characters, and intense characters. Just so you know, this is set in 1962, like I said. That same year, a lot of things happened. The death of Marilyn Monroe, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and 3 men escaped from the alleged escape-proof Alcatraz prison. And they meet one of the Alcatraz escapees, Frank Morris. Come on, folks. Can we just admit that antiques are cool with a capital C? Like, who needs a phone like this when you have an old house phone from 1982 or 1977, you know? This movie will make you want to collect antiques, and it'll make you want to research what it was like living in the late 50s, early 1960s. And it's definitely a film that a friend of mine would love. My friend had a really giant passion for antiques. I don't want to tell you how much time and effort that my friend put in to make sure his antiques were well preserved or presentable to people. He spent a lot of time and effort cleaning them up, believe me. This is a movie to watch with your grandparents. They will tell you immediately, oh my goodness, like, you watch this with them, and they'll be like, oh my goodness, I remember when I remember the old Fords, I remember the old Chryslers, oh, I remember when we had to use those machines in order to make coffee. That's how you really made coffee in those days. Oh, stuff like that. Oh, that was a simpler time. Yes, I actually agree. Prior to the pandemic, I hung out with a lot of seniors, and they talked about how simpler it was, how it was so much simple time in the 1950s and 60s. I agree with them.